Welcome back, esteemed viewers. If you just joined us, you are right on time because the show is about to kickstart. On the Engender Show this evening, we'll be discussing a topic that says child marriage. We'll be looking at the causes, the effects, and also possible solutions to this social menace, which is called child marriage. Now, before we delve into the topic in full, let's give you an excerpt of what this topic is talking about. Now, child marriage is a deeply rooted global issue that affects millions of children, particularly girls, around the world. It occurs when or both parties in a marriage are under the age of 18, often in the context of cultural, economic, and social pressures. Child marriage is prevalent in many developing countries, and trust me, Nigeria is not exempted, where traditional practices, poverty, and lack of access to education, contributes to its persistence. That is to say, education is one of the major factors that instigates this social menace called child marriage. Now, on today's episode, we'll be looking at what child marriage entails, what causes this child marriage, the effect it has on the individual, the society at large, and also the possible solutions to child marriage. Join me as we welcome our guests who will be discussing this topic with us. She is a media expert and a communication strategist. Her name is Tolulope. I hope I did not murder your name.
Apparently you did.
Oh, pardon me.
It's fine. Thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you for having me on the show.
What was that song? You came over.
No. The last time I sang it, you did not approve it. So,
let me sing something. Welcome to the Engendered Show.
Wow. Exactly.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
We don't look bad. Should I also have the economy straight?
You both did not look bad either. Thank you.
I heard it has not been on you.
I thought she's in charge.
Not been on you.
You're welcome. Let's ask, because I mean, this economy is affecting everybody in one way or the other. So how are you navigating the whole stuff?
Well, I must say, God has been faithful.
Definitely, He is.
It's not a cliche for me, basically. Yeah. So, but again, not to take out the facts that the obvious is glaring. So there is massive suffering and hardship in the land, no doubt. We're just hoping that we'll get over this phase as a nation really quickly.
Yeah, because this phase is dragging on too much, and I think the government or the president in particular keeps on saying we need to trust him, and people are dying of hunger in this place. People will probably want to trust, but honestly, what do you want them to trust? Right now, things are bad.
So bad.
Things are like
the prices of foodstuff in the market skyrocketing. It's not
overwhelmingly.
Like you go in the morning to buy something, you go back in the afternoon, it's a different price.
Honestly, it is mind-boggling, like how crazy the prices are climbing. Like you just like bam.
A bottle of oil now is almost 3,000. But someone is saying, in case you come to my house during Christmas and I serve you chim with red oil,
the times we are actually, it's not even the times for people to complain. Whoever does whatever in their capacity
just
for you. In fact,
and
I feel it's a great sacrifice now. Whoever does whatever form of good
they need to step up in
you just have to keep
measures of even providing for the masses. Because people are hungry out there, and they say the hungry man is
an angry man.
And a lot of people are angry out there.
People are committing different kind of crimes because they are looking for any means to survive.
Means of survival.
Normally they do atrocious things. Then now you're giving them. You're giving them. This is why
they have a reason not to do that. Well, our president said we should be hopeful.
Let's hope we
need the agenda. All right. Okay, so let's move to the topic for today. Now, as a media expert and communication strategist, how has it been so far, and how long have you been in this field?
All right, thank you so much, Confidence.
You're welcome.
I would say that for me, media had always been my thing, my go-to thing, even prior venturing into it professionally or pursuing a career in it. Yes. As far back as secondary school days, I remember being in press club, and I've just found myself as someone who would naturally love to write or speak. Prior then, I used to be a very timid individual. You will be surprised. Yeah. Wow. I was very timid. And over time, I feel my passions poured that growth. And eventually in, I think 2020 precisely, I delved into media as a profession, like in a very formal way. I worked with a TV station, and it's been from one milestone to the other. Yes.
Did you study mass communication university?
No, I did not. But I studied English language. It's still part of it somewhere. But in education, funnily, I had wanted studying mass communication, but you know, our parent. I remember my dad then saying to me that if you study mass communication, it's stereotypes, kind of. You're going to be you just only have to work in a TV station, in his words there. But he had said to me that if you pick up English language, you can still work as in media. That was his own understanding. You can still work in a media organization.
But the thing is your dad is not totally wrong, because looking at the culture in Nigeria, you can work with anything. You'll be surprised. I agree. The people that are in banks, some of them are like maybe
I told you that someone that studied CRS is working in the bank. Wow. CRS, like, what's surprising though? It's true.
I think I had one of my friends, she has an aunt that lives abroad. Yeah, so when she came, she got a cultural shock. Because she was like, my friend was like, oh no, like what they give you is what you study. What is what they give you? Is that not what you want to study? No, what they give you is what you study. Literally. She was so like, it was like different. Which was what they give you? Not what you want. Nigeria.
The good thing is that I think there's a lot of awareness now on people developing soft skills. So these days now, there are some job roles that require certain skills. Unfortunately, they are not taught within the four walls of school. So you see someone who studied mathematics, for example, he goes as far as developing himself in some tech skills, and before you know it, he has transitioned in his career, and he has nothing to do with his certificate. And he's earning well. So I feel that's how it is currently.
Skills acquisition is the way forward.
Don't just tell you your certificate. Yes, I agree.
All right. So in simpler terms, what is child marriage, and is there a particular age for it?
Thank you so much. Basically, if we are to look at it from the angle of statistics, we would say that child marriage is any marriage that involves a child, particularly the girl child, getting married when she's below 18 years of age. However, if I am to also add my own definition, I would say that it's just like saddling a young individual with burdens that comes with marriage, responsibilities that they are not groomed to handle, a lot of things that comes with marriage that an individual isn't prepared for mentally, emotionally, and even psychologically, financially, not even talk about that, but basically child marriage is a marriage for a child, a female child, for example, that is lesser than 18 years of age. And statistically, according to UNICEF rather, about 720 million women actually got married before the age of 18. That was even 2020, not really a recent study. So just imagine, I'm sure it would have
increased.
Absolutely.
So I think, like, if you're talking statistically, probably child marriage used to happen way more before. Now
there's more awareness.
There's more awareness. Of course, it still happens.
It's still happening,
but people are more aware now. And the thing is, times differ. Yeah, because as we are growing, as we are evolving, the society keeps on saying that, oh, these things should not be, as compared to like 200-300 years ago, where because in the case of a child marriage, most of the time is the woman. It's the girl child that is mostly affected. Do you already see like boy children
under 18?
Because what you hear is betrothal, like they betrothed this person to this person, but then it mostly affects the girl child. So then it works with time, but now as we are growing as people, people are fighting for the emancipation of women's rights. It's starting to become very clear this is an archaic belief. You cannot get like a child of this is a child, because by some law, each country has their own law of what definition of what a child is. So countries 16, some countries 15, some countries 18. So by definition of what the country's law is, how do you think 18-year-old, like a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, 13-year-old getting married?
If you even say 18 years old, it sounds as if the person is an adult. So 15 downwards. 15, and this just imagine when you're 15. Imagine being in your hands. This practice is still dominant in the northern part of Nigeria, because in that region, I mean, they don't even take education serious, even with the male gender compared to the female gender. So they feel once you're 13, 14, 15, they look for someone to marry you off. And that's why we have these days, we have lots of almajiris. Because I mean, if you get married at the age of 13, 14 without the knowledge of what marriage entails, you just be giving birth, you don't even know how to cater for that child you've given birth to. You will just leave the child to, go into the streets, survive, cater for yourself and all that. So it's really a problem. And that leads into my next question. Is child marriage a social menace? Is it a social problem, a social ill? Is it?
Absolutely it is. Because again, I believe as we go on, we will look into some of the effects and repercussions it would usually have on a society, even a family, and even the girl child. Of course, it is a social menace because, a lot of things come into place when a child is given out and married at a tender age. You've made mention of its prevalence in the northern part of the country. I think it is also that way because, as a country, we have an act, a constitutional act against that. But again, it's prevalent in the northern part of the country because they also adopt the Sharia law, which supports to an extent. I really wouldn't want to delve into that. But the fact that a child's education is halted, that's even the one who goes to school, and the fact that it can result to some health issues, and a child of that age, her pelvic and some of our anatomical structures, they are not even fit to handle certain things that come with marriage. Especially when it comes with reproduction and what have you. So it does a lot. In fact, it's the effects, they are quite enormous, if you would ask me. And I do not think, for whatsoever reason, it is something that any parents, good parents, should want their child to go through. Like Bukola rightly said, yes, it might be with time and as we're evolving. But again, it's so surprising that these days we still have this being practiced even in the 21st century. Because
I ask if it's a social menace, some people, like still in the northern part of Nigeria, they see it as something cultural, something traditional. They don't have an issue with it.
Because like she rightly said, they are guided here by the Sharia law. And you see that most of the time, countries where they mostly practice this child marriages, where the Islam culture, the Islam religion is high, like, is abound. That's where, it is particular to that religion. I mean, I know maybe some Christians, do that, but because of it is particular to that religion, you see it's mostly where Islam is practiced. You understand? So like in the north now, we have the Sharia law, which guides them most of the time here. Of course, we're all guided by the constitutional, the federal constitution. But the Sharia law which is particular for the north, which is, Islam law. You see that it abounds here because of that. I'm just saying,
And again, I'm happy because, again, not to rule that out completely. I feel there is a significant improvement in awareness, because I know quite a number of persons also from the north. They are becoming exposed. They go to school, and they are doing amazingly well for themselves in their various fields. So this issue of early marriage might maybe be more prevalent in remote areas, because a lot of people want a lot of them are doing well for themselves, regardless of the Sharia law also.
But you agree with me that this Sharia law is the problem here? It's the major problem. If you're talking of eradicating this social menace, how do we handle the Sharia law?
The thing is, honestly, because it's not a law that guides everybody in the country, because it just guides for the northern part. I guess that's why it's not. It is, and Nigeria is a secular state.
Of course,
we have different religions here, so I think it can work. It is working, and nobody, But I did hear one thing one day. I watched. I think it was in the parliament or something.
Okay,
and they were debating on the Sharia law being a general, law in Nigeria. And I was like, who sponsored this bill? Like,
good question.
How? The person that was countering the arguments, the other lawmaker, was just like, Nigeria is a secular state. You cannot say that it is not an Islamic state, so you cannot just, it cannot work. Nigeria in its foundation is a secular state, and that's how it should be, because that law guides the northern part of the Nigeria. That's the northern part. I guess if it works, for them, if they want it scrapped, they would do something, but since it's working, I guess.
Okay. All right. Let's move away from there. So what are the causes or factors of child marriage? I mean, it doesn't just happen on its own. One or two things must have instigated it. So what are the causes or effects?
Okay. I would say the leading cause for me would be poverty. Yes.
Major
poverty
cause.
And poverty mentality. I think they are two different things.
You
can be privileged a bit, but you still have some form of poverty mentality. Yes. So poverty is one prevailing factor or cause of early child marriage, aside from cultural beliefs. Yes, like we have dwelt on cultural beliefs. In the north, for example, it is hard to take away the religion from their cultural beliefs. That is why for other states or other ethnic that practice Islam, the way they practice is slightly different. Because their own cultural belief is not so attached to it. So I'll say that. So I think poverty, then lack of education. When I say education, I would divide it into two areas. So education as a formal education, going to school. Yes, because if a child should go to school, these days we have graduates. Maybe you can see a graduate at the age of 19 or 21, 22. So if you go to school and go through all of the educational phases, formal education stages, you are aging as you're going through it. So if you do not go through it, like they always say, an idle man is the devil's workshop. Then that is that aspect. Then education in the sense or the aspect that a lot of persons that are even engaged in maybe they are not adequately informed or educated on because if as a mother I come to you and I say that or I have enlightened you, that giving a child early into marriage, there are some effects or some risk here that come with it, particularly high health risk challenges that could affect maybe the pelvis or other part of the child. There was a time in the north. I grew up in the north, and then when you go to the hospital, I don't want to exaggerate, but you know, a significant figure of those you see there, they are down with these intravascular disease or so, I don't know what they call it, that, you know, a lot of them, they are just there on the bed. And what is wrong with them is their pelvic has been affected because, you know, they started wanting to give birth or give labor, yes, at early age. So that is the poverty. It's a leading cause. Lack of education, which I have also dissected into two, and also
that poverty mentality.
Okay, poverty, because again, you know, some persons feel like they want to give out their children, they want to use them as baits, yes, to get something from maybe a wealthy family that they are married into. In fact, most times, most often than not, that's one of the reasons they do that. If you see some of those girls that are getting married, they hardly get married to people of the same socio-economic status with them. Yes. So that's why I feel poverty again goes a long way, and the mentality. Yes. Because again, we have seen some of us were raised from not so wealthy background, or we did not have parents that were so financially buoyant, but you know, because of virtue of their exposure and understanding, they wanted to give the best to us by just ensuring that we go to school. Yes,
that's true.
That you know, the thing is, poverty mentality itself, I was thinking like, it's different from poverty, and it's a serious problem.
It's more serious than the poverty itself.
Because you can find someone that has gotten, you know, grown out of that poverty, now has, you know, something that has more, but they're still stuck in that way of thinking. And with that way of thinking,
your mind will always limit you.
Like it's still, you know, you're still poor, regardless of the fact that you have. It's you know, you not having doesn't have to always do with, you know, money or possession.
That's true.
You can have in what is in your head as well. So when you have, but then you're still behaving like someone that doesn't have, you're still thinking like someone that doesn't have, is really more, is worse.
Okay, so you're saying someone that is poor but doesn't have a poverty mentality acts in a different way compared to someone that has poverty mentality, when it comes to this child marriage.
Well, you can hardly separate both of them. Yes, but again, you know, sometimes some persons, although they are from a very poor background, then they are exposed to certain opportunities that should elevate them from that position. But they don't. They don't just take. Yes, they don't do away with that mentality. You know, the mind affects
everything
a lot about. Yes, so you can be rich and you're poor in your mind, and you might not have so much, but you have a rich mindset, and that's what will propel you to a greater future. That's what will propel you to know that although now these things, they are happening, but there is a better place for you in the future. And again, when we talk about poverty mentality, you see some people, they have money. I don't know if you have met some of them. The way they think or reason, you'll be wondering, this thing doesn't, you know, it doesn't reflect the status that they are exhibiting. I also like to add that another cause should be maybe conflict and displacement. You know, with all of these IDP camps that we have, you know, they are just in a place when we have violence and everything, you know, all of these things also, they are leading causes that make people, you know, to get tired. We were discussing about the situation of the country just now, and
talking about victims of circumstances.
Talking about these refugee camps, most of them don't even go into marriage. Like, you know, most of these IDPs are not that safe or secure. You get to hear that some little girls are being raped by the so-called people that are kind of, you know, securing them and all that. So most of them, they don't even go into marriage. They get raped, getting pregnant at a tender age.
Yeah, that's true. But again, let me add quickly, you know, in the north, it's different a bit. Because like I said, I grew up in the north. So, you know, another thing that makes them, that's I think I should use it to buttress the cause that I mentioned about cultural beliefs. So sometimes they believe that rather than allow your girl child grow up to a level where she becomes promiscuous due to hormonal changes and what have you. They just assume that it is better she does whatever sexual activity in a formal in quote way. Do you understand? So sometimes, except for the new ones now that their eyes are open, but you know, then you can hardly, we all grew up believing that northern girls are very chaste. That they will chastity in a high regards. So they just marry them off and feel that, look, should you have any form of sexual relationship or activity, it's fine. This is within the confines of that's one reason again they let them go and marry.
All right, viewers, let's quickly go on a short break, and when we come back, the Engender Show will continue. Stay with us.
Do you want wider patronage of your goods and services?
Do you want your goods and services to have traction?
Do you desire to make more sales and increase your return on investment?
Captain TV has got you covered because you can achieve all this with reasonable amount of money.
With modest charges, we are the best around here for advertising and product promotion.
Whatever you want to say it for us on Captain TV.
We are a global multimedia platform aimed at positioning the African viewpoint
on Star Times channels 480 and 124 and free-to-air Nicomsat channels 12518, symbol rate 29500.
With crystal clear digital signals, we reach no fewer than 54 million viewers around the world. For advert bookings and sponsorship of programs, please call
Silas on 081 615 19559, Khadija on 070 713 72115, or Ruben on 080 234 47703.
Kaftan TV.
Imagine a beautiful world.
Do you want wider patronage?
Welcome back to the Engender Show, and if you are just joining us, take a seat and enjoy. So, like we were talking, the topic for today's child marriage, causes, effect, and solutions. So, we've talked about the causes. We've looked at points like poverty, cultural factors, and displacement. Now, what are the effects? Because everything has an effect. There is a cause, there is an effect.
Of course.
Anything. So what are the effects of this? This is a social menace. It's something that I don't even think is being spoken about enough.
Right.
There is awareness. Yes, people know that this thing shouldn't happen on like some levels, but really, with the economy of things, the average Nigerian will never think about whether child marriage is a problem.
Yeah, that's true. The economy.
The economy itself makes relegates important issues to the background. So things that are actually causing harm in the society are not being spoken about. Because the causes of these things, when you see that poverty, education, a lot of these girls that are involved in child marriage, they are not properly educated. So sometimes the girls, sometimes the parents. So if if we are in a society of people that think this way, isn't it dangerous?
Very, very. It is.
Of course it is.
So what we've seen, because what are the effects?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bukola. And I would say that, you know, for early child marriage, the effects are enormous. Okay. And the rippling effect it has on parents and major stakeholders involved, the society at large, it's enormous. One of it will be health risk.
Of course.
Yes, health risk. I mean, a child, let's say 14, 15, for example, some of them who are in psychology, some persons are late developers, you know, some of them, it might just be then that maybe shortly before that age that they begin their menstrual cycle, you know, they are still trying to juggle that phase and, you know, process it, and then the next thing you are asking them to get married, and most times it is not even to their pair, it is someone older strength, more energetic kind of person, you know. There is no the ratio is not balanced. Let me just say it's not a balanced thing. So health risk. Sometimes we have high mortality rates of those young girls, because sometimes when they eventually conceive and they want to give birth, you know, there are complications, you know, health risk. So that's one thing. Also, education disruption for a child, for example. Let's say the child even begins maybe in primary school and gets married off, you know. Even these days, let's look at it from our circle, people of our ages. So they say, if you pursue maybe your first degree and you want to go for a second degree, sometimes once you're married and you're raising kids, it's always difficult, except with exceptional determination. That's what can help you pull through. So imagine a child, you know, at that age, it's just like it's a sit-at-home kind of thing for them. So the education is disrupted.
Even development, I feel like development in itself, you know, as a human being. Like even how old am I now? I don't know myself.
You do not tell us, we don't know.
like I'm just saying, like I don't know myself that much. I'm still developing in myself. Now imagine if at that point, what you have to be thinking about is a child, your husband, your woman,
taking care of the family.
Your whole development as a person is already stunted.
More like a child nursing a child.
Exactly.
I also feel we do not even talk so much about the trauma that comes with it. The psychological, emotional trauma.
Like people that are trying to, like people, even now, say, why are you not married? I'm sorry, I just drank Capriccion like some hours ago.
But on the light side, Bukola, go and marry. Go and marry.
Before I came here, so nobody was stressing me. I'm still calling my mommy. So I'm calling me mommy.
One other effect, like I said, psychological trauma. You know, normally even for adults that get married, there's this postpartum depression that comes with it. That some adults cannot even manage effectively. You know, it results into something worse than even just normal health challenges. Some of them become depressive over time. Some of them develop certain health conditions. So you know, psychological trauma is one effect it has. Then increased domestic violence is another thing, because I mean, do you have an elder brother? Do you have an elder brother that can feel good? And you remember while growing up, you know what your elder brother would normally do to you when you're being naughty? Go to that naughty corner. So you can imagine African men. not so
actually
African men. Of course.
So for even people that are almost closer to age, you know, it is that's a problem. We're not talking about this is a child. This is actually a child.
And that child doesn't even see the man as a husband. If I see the man as, I don't, probably a relative, someone that's able enough to give birth to me, not as a husband, because usually he's always like, don't even know what a husband is. Wow.
The issue is
it's very deep.
And saddening, really, it's really saddening, because aside this discussion, you know, sometimes when I was informed about the whole thing, you know, I sat down and I'm like, well, we might be privileged individuals, but I just imagine girls in that situation. I don't know if you've seen this popular Netflix movie, The Woman King. Okay, we saw how a young girl there was going to be forced to marry a quite elderly man, and she refused. But look at the hidden potentials in her. While she eventually went into the king's palace, see the exploit she did. Imagine that she had gone into marriage at that time. Nobody is saying marriage is not good, it's pleasant and everything, but I mean, so sometimes I feel for these young girls, and I'm like, they are stuck, literally. They are stuck there. They are stuck. They don't know what to do, and they can't even go out in most cases. They are married to these people, and you know, for example, again, we'll make reference to the number because it's prevalent there. Even those that are married legally, right? Sometimes you see the northern man does a lot of the going out, going to the market. They feel that they respect that's their cultural belief. Their wives shouldn't be everywhere going to the market. They do some of the shoppings themselves. So imagine the remote villages or rural areas where there are young girls. You know, I feel they are stuck there. There's nobody to talk to. There's no voice. You're not talking to a full-grown man that cannot so relate with what is happening to you. So it's really a messy situation, if you would ask me. And I feel no parent should allow their child go through that, honestly. It's really a saddening thing. It is.
Right now, so let's, okay, you want to say something?
So like, since we've talked about the causes, the effects, what are the solutions? Because this, looking at this topic, you know, we all say child marriage, but now really ripping into it, you can see that it's so much deeper.
I agree.
It is so much deeper, and this is something that everybody in the society should do something about.
I agree. We all do have a role to play
to stop this. So what are the probable solutions? I know some solutions are theoretical, you know, but like what are the practical,
effective solutions,
actionable steps? So I would say that to a large extent, legislative reforms would go a long way to help us. It's an actionable step that can be taken if our country sees it as a burden, actually. And there could be some reforms. You know, lately, I think some weeks back, I was reading on the internet how a country, one of these Arab countries, have reduced the age. You know, now it's like early marriage is if a child gets married under 18. So it seems like Bukola mentioned earlier, some countries have different ages. So let's take, for example, I can't remember vividly what their own age was. Let's assume it was like 16, but they now reduced it to maybe 14 thereabout. You know, one of the Arab countries did that. You know, that's that's a reform then, and you know, we might not say that policy
in the reverse.
We might not feel that policy is favorable enough. So as a country, let's dwell on our own space. As a country, I feel some legislative reforms will go a long way to help reduce significantly or avert this. Then I think communal or community engagements, you know, a lot of stakeholders, churches, religious organizations, mosque, that cut across, you know, we can do more. We can do more awareness. We can create more info, education, enlightenment on all of these things. So that when we keep hearing it, once you keep hearing over and over, you know, there's a way it sits in your brain, there's a way it helps you, and then you grow up with it. So I think that will also go a long way. And particularly parents, should anyone not even send in the Nigerian palace, should anyone not send you, like, please, you gave birth to this child. And I feel once we have, once we are more enlightened, we would make better options, better offers, decisions, thank you, for our kids. So we need to educate not just the girl child alone, but the parent, because sometimes, you know, as Africans, we are trained and groomed not to disobey our elders. So major stakeholders, fathers, mothers, should be enlightened more, then the girl child, we've been having a lot of girl child campaign in schools, and whatever. They are doing a lot. I also feel parents should be involved.
What about the male child?
Yes, the male child also. Yeah, thank you for that, because we seem to dwell more on the girl child. So yes, the male child. But again, while I feel it is tilted towards the girl child, is because, you know, in the African context, again, the man or the male child is seen to be like the head and should have some level of livelihood before you can say you are getting married to somebody. So most times,
why I chipped in the male child. The male child should also be aware that getting married to a girl that is underage
is risky.
That's why
I agree. Although these days we have a lot of young people getting married now, but let's say not so young, maybe like 21, 20, because of, you know, maybe economic status or power. Some persons have a lot of money and they just say,
if this person is above 18 and they want it, you know, the thing is, in this instance,
it's not consensual. They are forced.
It is not consensual. They are being forced into this thing. You're above 18, you want it, you want to get married to this person,
and you have the means.
Above 18, you're an adult now.
And have the means to do so.
The means is very, very important. So you go ahead and do it. The thing is, most importantly, for this solution, I feel like, first of all, we should all see it as a burden.
Exactly.
We should first of all see it as a burden.
As a collective one. Exactly.
It is, like I said, it is being relegated to the back, especially in a country like Nigeria that is a developing country. Look at the time, we're in, 21st century. Where in some countries, things are... See, you go to some countries and it's like you are in the future.
Right? I agree.
You are in the future. And this is still the idea that we have in our country. I'm sorry to say, it is not a foundation for a country that wants to grow.
Absolutely.
So we should really hit on the fact that legislators have to do something about it. We have to see it as a problem, first of all. Even if they are not, they're not seeing it as a problem.
That's where education and awareness comes in.
They're not seeing
regardless of things that you have maybe grown up with or notions that you've had in your mind. You know, when you keep, like I mentioned earlier, when you keep saying something over and over, when you keep enlightening someone, you know, they tend to break free over time from all of those mindsets or beliefs that they have always grown up with. A lot of us are now more what you knew in your teenage years, it's not what you now know now. In fact, some persons will say, what I know now, if I knew then, I would have taken more I would have taken better options or decisions, you know. So it happens. I also feel NGOs, you know, collaborative organizations, international partnership and communities can also come together to do a whole lot. I know there are days that, you know, are set as international dates for the girl child, and they are doing a lot, but more needs to be done for significant
and I think
results.
Also in the aspect of education and awareness, this child marriage should be taught in schools. It should be taught in schools. Students should also be aware that it's a problem.
I agree.
It's a problem.
I agree.
Most of the time it pops off. Like when you want to see child marriage, it pops out as like a problem of another problem of another problem. Like it's a problem of like maybe poverty now leads to child marriage. Like something now leads to something now leads to child marriage. It's like the effect of an effect of an effect. It's not like a problem.
The awareness should get to a point where a girl child already at a tender age, let's say teenage years, already has a future for herself. She knows that against all odds, I have something I'm pursuing. I can also be anything I want to be in life. Good. I can achieve whatever I put my mind to. That way, I think it goes a long way also.
Because I think maybe sometimes some of these girls say it, even if they want to oppose, even if, you know, they have parents that are free enough to say, okay, you don't necessarily have to do this. Some of them just say it as, what else can I do? That's not like all you can
don't have any options.
It will surprise you, right? Let me just digress a little bit. While I was in one of the northern states working then, I had a boss then, and then he was, as at then, he was over 60, and he was married to a girl that was I think 17 or 18, no, 17 then.
Wow.
But when he married her, she was 14. She already even had 2 kids as at the time of our discussion. And jokingly, I was like, so why did you get married to that girl? He had said to me that he married to help her. That was what he said. He said because it got to a point that the girl was troubling her parents that this is the person she wants to get married to, because he jokingly would always he plays randomly with females, you know, he would call them my wife and whatever, so he said he just did that for her because the girl, even the parents at some point said she should remove this notion from her mind, but she kept saying this is who she wanted to get married to. So in his own opinion, he married to help her.
Like, are they poor?
Of course, probably. I want to believe.
So this is now in another
escape route. And of course, the man at that time was a millionaire.
Get out of poverty card.
Wow.
So you can do much more.
That's right.
This is the orientation is not just parents, legislators, even the girls.
Of course,
even the girls, because sometimes it seems like they are the victims and also the instigator of the problem.
Yeah.
So you yourself as a girl child, what do you want for yourself? This cannot be all. This cannot be all your life.
I mean, as a marriage should even be the least thing on your mind. Focus on your education, acquiring skills to better your future.
I was playing 10.
That was in GS1 or GS2. Tolulope, time is against us now. What's your advice for parents or guardians that are, you know, indulge in this social menace called child marriage? What's your advice for them?
I would say that if you are a parent or a guardian watching this program, I expect that by now you should be taking better decisions and option for your children or the children under your care if you are a guardian. Unfortunately, I do not know if this will get to rural areas because, again, as a nation where we have some setbacks, sometimes they do not even have means to watch all of this.
That's true.
And they are the most persons affected. So as individuals that are watching this, let us see it like Bukola said earlier and you stated as a collective thing. Yes, the rural settlers might not have access to this to learn, but we or those that are more informed, let us see it as a burden that we can reach out and spread this. When you see a young girl, wherever you meet them, try to talk to them, advise them. It's not only, it might not just be on marriage alone, you know. Encourage them. I do that a lot when I see, because I know where I'm coming from. I know sometimes I'd say to myself, if I was privy to certain information or counseling, probably I would have made better decisions. So when I see young individuals, I try to encourage them. I also try to advise them. I try to say to them that you are a girl child and I'm a strong advocate for the girl child. And I say, look, you can be whatever you want to be. And as parent, I would also say, let's not see our children as a bait. A lot of parents they saddle their children with some form of economic providence. I don't know if that's the right thing to say. A child that is barely finding her way and her feet, you're already saddling the child with certain responsibilities. Oh, we need this, we want this. So before you know it, an average girl child, you know, in this particular part of the world, feels that, oh, I need to get married to a very wealthy person so that I can bring my parents out. And that is why a lot of men or the male folks just feel that women or the girl child is only once you have the money to give, that is all. I want women to get, of course we know we love money, no doubt, but I want us to get to the level where we can do certain things for ourselves. We can also support our husbands. Don't just be stuck in a place where you feel so vulnerable. Yes. And let's spread it. Let's keep telling people. When you meet as an informed person, when you meet someone in the rural area, let's encourage them. Let's talk to them. Let's create more awareness. Let's organize programs. Let's sponsor all of those people with certain NGOs that organize programs. Please do more on girl child education and awareness. It will go a long way.
Thank you so much, Tolulope. It was really nice having you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, I learned one or two. Thank you so much for having me. See you some other time.
Hopefully.
All right. All right, viewers, this is where we draw the curtain on today's episode. The topic was child marriage. I hope you learned one or two. It is a social problem, and we all have a role to play in terms of preventing it as well as eradicating it. Till we come your way again, I am Confidence Ruben.
And I am Bukola Ogunweje. Make sure that you know that you are more than just who you feel you are.
Absolutely.
You can go out there and do more. You're not just stuck to, you know, being a girl or a boy. You are more than that. You are more than being a girl or a boy. So I'm Bukola Ogunweje, like I said, and stay tuned to Captain TV for more updates. We'll see you next time. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Bye.